Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video today we're going to cover, basically you've done an engine swap on a compact, a 1.8 car, and you've got running and you have no temp, no RPM, and you have 5500 RPM limiter. Today I'm going to walk you through how to fix that yourself. So I'm going to take you over and show you the diagrams that I've wrote for you guys. I'm going to make it really easy for you. So yeah, let's make a start. So let's take you over here and I'll show you what you need to do. And straight off the bat, we have a diagram here. Handy things to do when you're doing this job. A spare set of plugs for clocks, because you're going to be adding pins into these clocks. You'll probably find that you'll have in the white plug, you will have the pin will be there for that, but we're going to cut it and join our wire to it. So you're going to be adding a couple of wires into this, and you need one of these X20 plugs, because you're going to find that you're not going to have the two wires which do temp on these, but we'll get straight into them now. So there's your e36 X20 plug. This is the body side, this is off a scrap car, right? But we're going to add a couple of pins to it, because your car is not going to have pin 11 and pin 12. It will have pin 9, which is speed signal. The speed signal, you're going to connect that to the clock, because if you read this here, vehicle speed signal input, that's an input. You've got to drive the car along the road and say, oh, but the speedo's working. The speed is picked up off the diff on an E36, so the clocks are always going to work. But because this is an M50, the ECU in the M50 needs to see a speed signal, or it'll fall flat on its face every time between gears. On an M52, you just get the ABS limiter mapped to it, and it'll rev to 7, 7.2, whatever you want to rev it to. So we're going to do speed signal, we're going to add the two coolant pins. It's already going to have RPM, but because it's a compact, the RPM is done a different way on these things, but we're just going to cut that wire and rewire into ours. So I've made this bit of loom for it to go ahead and do this, right? But the wire colours that we're working with today, I've made a wee list here, right? So we're going to go pin 9, which is black white speed signal, to pin 2 on the blue of the clocks, right? So that's going to have a pin, I'm sure. We'll check once we get into the car. Pin 11 is brown yellow, which is coolant signal earth. This is on the X20 car, and then this is on pin 17 on the blue clocks plug. We're going to add they two minimum, they two. And then X20 pin 20, which is RPM, to the white plug pin 20, which is RPM. I'm not sure if that one's going to have a pin in the back or no until we get into the car. So we're going to do one blue first. We'll take this blue plug, right, and there's a wee tab here. If this is an older shell, it has a wee thing that you slot along here. So we're going to lift that up, pull him out. It says, the numbers are really small, I don't know if you'll be able to see them on the camera, but this one is, it says pin 1 there and pin 13 there. So we've got to turn it over, and we're looking for 17 and 18 on this. Bye-bye. So we've just got to count along, so 14, 15, 16, there's pin 17 there. So you're going to just, this small tab in there, push that tab down, pull it back, and then you need to push it in when it's in this wee slot as well. So I'm going to go, give me that. It's a bit awkward today hanging near a camera. Right, pin 17. Pin 18. Right, so there's the two temp ones for the clocks. We've got to use them inside the car. So that showed you how to de-pin that, right? So next we're going to go X20 car side plug, right? And inside here, you're going to see this wee tab here with a notch in it. We're going to push that anti-clockwise to unlock the pins. You can watch that. Here we go, it's snapped loose, and I have my wee thing to push the keys out here. I have a wee set of these, but I'm pretty sure you could just tug them for the back. So we want pin 11 and pin 12, so locate them. Again, there's numbers in here, they're pretty hard to read on a camera. We've got to locate 11 and 12, and we've got to steal the pins out of this. There's pin 11. Pin 12. So we're going to be adding these into the X20 on the car side, and yeah, that did just steal my pin removing tool, but they were just cheap China things at $2.99 anyway, so who cares? Right, so two temp wires. We already have speed signal on the car, on the X20 plug. It has speed signal, but we're going to cut it, and then we're going to tap into our wires. So the wires I'm working with today is a brown yellow for temp earth, a brown purple for temp signal, a straight black for RPM, and your speed signal wire is black with white. So I've made up this bit of loom. I didn't have the right wire colours about, so I have them as yellow as my brown yellow, temp earth. I'm going to use the blue for the brown purple, which is temp signal. I'm going to use my straight black for RPM, and I'm going to use my red for speed signal. So to me, it makes sense. So let me just take you with the car for a second. I'll show you what I've got here. So probably every chance you've got to be doing this if it's a 4-cylinder car, so you've got to remove the battery tray, and unplug your engine for the X20 plug, and we've got to be working with this. So as you'll see on here, if we look in this side, you have no pin 11 and 12, which goes down this corner here, 11 and 12, but we have a pin 9 and we have a pin 20, but what we're going to do, we're going to cut 9 and 20 here, and we've got a feeder wire through. I just go through this little grommet down here, feed it through there, and take it up to the clocks and then do the wiring. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and wire this up. I'm going to solder it. I'm going to take it inside the car. I'm going to run the car so you can see. I'm going to put the code reader on the car as well so you can see. Obviously my RPM's not working, but obviously the ECU sees RPM, but it's trying to send it to the clocks. I'm going to show you how I've fed the wire in and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead, do my wire and put the battery back in so I can fire this up and show you guys. I'm going to put the code reader on it so you can see inside the ECU. The ECU doesn't know the car's moving, either the clocks are moving. So I'll go do that. I'll show you where I put the wire and that inside, and I'll show you the pins that you have to deal with on the back of the ECU, on the back of the clocks and stuff like that. I'll show you this quickly while I'm here. So I've added pin 11 and 12, right? It had pin 9, which is speed, which is green and white on this, right? And pin 20, which is straight black. So I've cut them all to the same length, and remember, when you put your pins in here, relock this tab until it clicks into place. So next I'm going to go and feed my wiring through. I'm going to show you where I bring it through. I've just fitted the hydro to this, so I'm coming through the same bit. There's like a wee grommet down in there. I just take a wee tiny cut off the carpet just so it keeps the brake line happy, and then we'll just go anywhere up through there, up to the clocks, and then pick the wires back up. So I've got to go and feed my wires through, show you what way I fed them. I'll make all the connections on the car side. I'll leave them off at the clocks until I've had the code reader running, and show you guys obviously the clock's not working and stuff like that, and the ECU not seeing a speed signal. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be back shortly. So that's me soldered and heat shrinked. Actually soldered and heat shrunk the 4 wires that I've connected. I'm just going to give this a quick tape up so it's not too messy. I took some tape off to actually access these wires so I could get a good length for the wires. Either that, you've got to cut them up there, which is no good to anybody. And they shouldn't just be coming in here and twisting wires together, so I'd rather you solder them and use heat shrink than anything else. Right, that's that done. What I'll do quickly, I'll show you what I've done with the wires inside while I'm filming. So I took my wire in, I took the clocks out, I pushed the wire, there's my wire here, pushed it down the back of the clocks, down to the floor, and then we run basically along where the loom runs. It looks like I've made a little too much wire, but I'll just lose some out in here, that's fine. So that's me in and through the grommet. Through the grommet on the passenger side and tucked behind the carpet. So in here, through the grommet, and we're behind the carpet here. Then we come out the carpet there and through along the back there. So that's me finished on the car side, on the engine side, sorry. So I'll go and put the battery back in, the battery tray back in, plug the engine back in, and I'll jump into the inside of the car. I'll see what pins is there and what's no there, and I'll probably wire up my pins so I can show you quickly at working once I put the pins in. and we'll get the rest of it finished. And every time I make a video for you guys, I always, every time I use a diagram or stuff, in the description of the video, you'll find a Google document link, and in that Google document there'll be a diagram for this, and I also have diagrams for these clocks. There'll be diagrams in there for everything. I always do this with my kind of videos. Cheers. Right, so we're inside the car, right? So I'm going to go white plug, undo the tab and geese the plug, right? So white plug is, it houses, I need to put the RPM pin in this, which is pin 20. It doesn't have pin 20, so we're going to add that. So I'm going to take my pin 20 and stick it in this slot here, and you just couldn't. It goes for 16 there and finishes on 26. So this second one in here that's missing, this out of the two there, I'm going to go that one there. That's pin 20, so I'm going to add that. And what I've just realised there is when I've come to do this one has speed signal. In fact, it's actually this one. Speed signal on pin 2. Is it, where are we? Pin, that's not that one, it's this one. Pin 2 has the black and white wire there for speed signal, the second one in, right? But to save me untaping all this wire, for to get a bit of wire, I'm just going to pull pin 2 out of there and put my pin 2 in, so I've got a nice bit of wire, but it's just to save untaping that part of the loom. So I'm going to go and stick these pins in. I'm going to just go and solder stuff, and then I'll set up the code reader for to show you the temp and rev's not working. I'll quickly pop the clocks out, put these 3 pins in that needs 4 pins in that need put in, and then show you again everything working. So I've got to go ahead and do that and solder my wires and tidy that stuff up, and I'll be back. Right, so we're back in at the car, right? And usually when you do a swap like this, like when you turn the key on, oh, see, I can turn that up a bit. When you turn the key on, right, see when the clocks is going to work, you'll see when you turn the key on, the clock should move up a bit, just like that needle. Can it move it at least to the bottom, as in it's ready to read temp. So now I'm going to fire it up. Got no RPM, right? I'm going to go into find here is speed signal. Come on, we're ready. Road speed signal. Right, this is road speed signal. Right, I'm just going to put it, and I'll put it in third and lift the clutch until we see speed on the clocks. We're in fifth gear here, doing 25 on the clock, so yeah, your clocks are working, but that's not. So this is why we're giving it a speed signal, because the ECU can't see the car moving, and it creates, if it's an M52, it creates 5.5 RPM limiter. If there's an M50, they're really strange about it. Like, I used to have an M50 for drifting, and when you go to the end of second gear and revved it out, when you put it in third, the car would fall flat on its face for a second, even with your foot on the throttle, and then it would go again until I realised the thing about the speed signal. So I've been in the same boat. I've learned BMs as the more I've worked with BMs. Nobody really taught me anything, so I'm just passing on to you guys. So now I'm going to go and I've got my wires here, which is already connected to the pin, so I'm going to quickly just throw them in, and I'm going to show you this working after that. So I just need to remove the clocks, put these pins in the right places, which obviously you'll see here. This is what you have to deal with here, which all this will be in a diagram at the end for these. And yeah, I'll be back soon and I'll show you this having an actual value, and then that's that fixed. And the temp will be working and the RPM is going to move. Happy days. Right, so I've just had this on the car running and working, and I went to run up the speed signal and there was no speed on the actual clocks, and I was like, what? Like, I've done this before and it actually worked. So I had to go and get an ECU pin out for this Bosch 413 M50 engine ECU, and there was not a pin 9 in there. There wasn't a pin 9. My one had a pin 9, unless somebody had swapped it a bit before, because it had been in a swap, right? So I've just been through diagrams and stuff, and I've traced it back to a wire in here. So I've beep tested it back to here, and it is a black and white wire like it should be, but it's been in pin 14. So on the old OBD chassis, it must be pin 14 on that, on this plug. But I'm just going to swap this pin to pin 9 now, and I'll go back inside the car and everything should work. So that's pretty new to me, that one. Like that, I was like in the car, like stumped, like that speed. That should be reading speed. What the fuck have I done wrong? And I actually thought I took pinned one of the pins in here wrong, but that's definitely pin 9. So I'm just going to put it back together, throw the battery back in, and show you it working like I thought it was going to work 5 minutes ago. But just since I've run into this issue here, I thought I would just show you. So I'm just depinned that one out of 14. Which if you look at my diagram, it says it's not used, but obviously OBD1 uses that as speed signal. Look, 14 not used, but it should be for that, so that's where I'm putting it into speed signal, because I beeped it back to the ECU. I've read the diagram for the ECU and it says speed signal, which is an input for instrument cluster, so I've got to go ahead, click that back in, put the ECU back together, go back inside the car and show you it finally fucking working. Jesus, man. Right, so the wiring is all done at the cloaks, and I've just had to go back to the X20 plug because apparently on an M50 it's originally pin 14 for speed signal, so I ended up chasing my tail. I was in here a minute ago showing you, oh there's the speed working, and it wasn't, so I was like laughing at myself. I had to go back and get an ECU diagram and then pin it back, but it's still in the actual plug. But the last M50 that I done and used, pin 9 was actually there. So if you're using it and you've got an M50, if it's got a pin 14 but not a pin 9, you would just put your extra pin in there, pin 9 instead of 14. But all the details are there. I actually recorded that bit too just to show you, because I got stumped with it. Right, so we've done an engine swap, right, and the temp's not going to work. So when I flick this key on, the temp's going to move a bit because it's actually registering that it's doing something, not like so. Right, so this time we're going to get RPM working, and then we're going to go in and see the speed moving. RPM, right, so I'm going to go into the code reader. And show speed working in the ECU. So an M52, not too fussy about this, but an M50, speaking for experience, 100% fussy about it. Like, you'd be out the track, you'd rev it out in second gear, you'd hit third and it'd fall flat on its face for a second even though your foot is on the floor. Right, so should be next one to here. Road speed signal. Right, I'm just going to lift the foot in the clutch in third gear. There we go, road speed signal. Fourth gear, fifth gear idling. Now we have speed signal, when we didn't have it before. So that's us fixed, finally. So that's it, sorted. Temp, RPM working, the ECU can now see a speed signal, so it's going to keep the car happy. If you have an M52, obviously you map it out in the ECU, like, but I don't know how you would do it in an M50, it's chip tuning and stuff like that. You'd have to get like speed signal delete to the ECU. But if it was like a stock ECU with just a chip, that you asked for a chip off a guy and you didn't mention speed signal delete, it would probably come and it would give you the symptoms like falling flat on its face and stuff. So I'm going to end the video here, guys. If this video was helpful to you, please like, share, subscribe to the channel for more e36 videos. I'm going to do a lot more videos like this, just to show you guys how to do stuff yourselves. And yeah, you probably see the link to this video and most other e36 videos and stuff that I do on e36 Kings. The reason I made this video is like I've forever getting tagged on the e36 pages about how do you do temp and RPM, and guys is like, oh, is it hard to do and stuff. Well, I've just showed you how to do it, so it's basically a walkthrough video. Like I said, every diagram that I've used, there'll be a link in the description here to a Google Drive, and that'll give you everything that you need in that Google Drive. There'll be the diagram to the X20 plug and the diagram for the clocks as well, so you'll get everything done. Again, guys, thanks for watching. Like I say, like, share, subscribe. There'll be plenty more videos to come. I'll see you guys in a bit. Thank you. Bye.